He was always the smallest figure on the field, the boy whose name was rarely called during practice. While others moved with ease, their natural rhythm almost like music, he stumbled, tripped, and lagged behind. Every game left him breathless, his jersey clinging to him with sweat that felt heavier than his body. The coach saw potential in the talented ones, and his teammates treated him as though he were a shadow trailing behind. He carried that weight silently, never showing how much it hurt to be the one left behind. But inside, he felt the sharp sting of being overlooked. Each passing day, he compared himself to the others' stronger legs, quicker hands, sharper instincts. They were born to play, it seemed. He wasn't. When laughter filled the locker room, it never included him. When the coach praised a player, his eyes never landed on him. That silence spoke louder than words ever could, and it carved deep doubts in his heart. Still, there was a flicker of something within him, something fragile yet stubborn. He wanted to belong, to stand tall even once. He wanted to feel the rush of being recognized, of not being the weakest link dragging others down. But that dream seemed far away, hidden behind the mountain of talent that the others so effortlessly carried. The turning point came one evening after a particularly humiliating practice. The team had run drills, and he failed each one. The talented boys laughed softly under their breath, but loud enough for him to hear. Walking home, his shoes pressed against the pavement like anchors, each step reminding him of his failure. At the corner of the field, he paused and looked back at the place where he had just been invisible. Something inside whispered to him, "They won't notice you now, make them notice you later." That night, he made a silent promise to himself. He would no longer compare his journey to theirs. He would measure his growth only against the boy he was yesterday. Talent might give them a head start, but he would learn to run further, longer, stronger. And though his heart trembled with fear, it also carried a spark of determination. He knew it would not be easy, but deep down, he believed that one day his hard work would carry him beyond the shadows he lived in. The next morning, while the others rested, he returned to the field alone. The air was still heavy with dawn, the grass wet beneath his shoes. His body ached from yesterday's drills, but he pushed through the stiffness. He practiced the same moves he failed at, repeating them until his legs shook and his breath burned. There was no applause, no coach shouting encouragement, only the quiet rhythm of effort and the sound of his heart pounding in his chest. Day after day, he came back. When others went home after practice, he stayed. When his friends played video games, he trained. His hands blistered, his muscles screamed, and his lungs begged for rest, but he refused to give in. He fell many times, yet each fall became a lesson, each mistake a step forward. Alone under the cold night sky, with only the dim field lights to guide him, he learned to fight against himself, the doubt, the exhaustion, the thought that maybe he would never change. Still, he noticed something subtle over time. His legs grew steadier, his balance sharpened, his body no longer collapsed under drills that once left him gasping. Small victories that no one else saw gave him strength. And though the gap between him and the talented players remained, it no longer felt impossible to close. But the path was lonely. His teammates continued to laugh, dismissing him as the boy who tried too hard. They had no need to practice beyond the basics. Their natural gifts carried them. To them, his effort looked desperate, almost foolish. Yet he carried their laughter like a silent weight on his back, using it to drive him further. If they thought he was wasting time, he would make sure that one day they would see the truth. He often thought about giving up, especially when his body collapsed into bed, sore and broken. But he remembered the night he made that promise to himself. He remembered the shame of standing invisible, and he knew that if he quit now, that shame would live in him forever. So, he pressed forward, one repetition at a time, one night after another, chasing a dream no one else believed in. And slowly, without anyone realizing, the boy who had been the weakest began to change. His steps grew firm, his eyes more focused, his spirit unshaken. What he lacked in talent, he was building in discipline. What others took for granted, he earned through sweat. And deep inside, he knew he was no longer the same boy who once walked home in silence after failing every drill. The season reached its peak, and with it came a match that would test every player. The team faced their strongest rivals, and tension filled the air. On the field, the talented players carried their usual confidence, expecting their natural ability to shine as always. But this time, something was different. The boy who had once been the weakest no longer moved like a shadow. His steps were sharp, his movements controlled, his presence undeniable. When the game began, he didn't stumble as before. His body responded to every demand, his reflexes sharp from countless nights of repetition. The coach watched in surprise as he executed plays with precision, the same plays he once failed miserably. The talented boys, who had relied on their gifts, began to falter under pressure. Their skills, without practice to sharpen them, began to dull. Meanwhile, his hard work carried him forward, stronger with each passing moment. There was a turning point in the match when the ball came to him. Everyone expected him to fail, but he moved with a confidence that shocked even himself. He dodged, controlled, and pushed forward, his body remembering the endless drills that had once broken him. In that moment, the years of laughter, the doubts, and the loneliness all faded. What remained was strength earned, not given. He scored, and silence fell over the field before it erupted with cheers. His teammates, who had overlooked him, now looked at him with new eyes. The coach's praise finally reached him, not because of luck or talent, but because of relentless persistence. The naturally gifted players who had never trained began to see what he had built, a skill forged through resilience, discipline, and the refusal to quit. For the boy, the victory was not just about the game, it was about the journey, about proving to himself that he could rise even when the world doubted him. He realized then that talent might open doors, but only hard work keeps them open. And though he had once been the weakest, he now stood as a reminder that effort, no matter how unseen, always carries weight. As the crowd cheered his name, he didn't feel pride in being better than the others. Instead, he felt peace in knowing he had kept his promise. He had chosen the harder path, and it had led him to strength that talent alone could never reach. Hard work is often a quiet road, walked in solitude while others rest. It feels heavy, thankless, and endless, but it is also the path that transforms weakness into strength. This boy's story reminds us that talent may give you an advantage, but without effort, it fades like smoke. True victory comes not from what you are given, but from what you create with your own hands. So, when the weight of effort feels too much, remember each step forward builds the foundation for tomorrow's success. If this story touched you, please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.